Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. It has been too long. It has been almost a month since I made a video for Warhammer. It's crazy. This is kind of I'm back into it. I've took a bit of a hiatus there and I'm going to explain why. But I'm back at it. We're going to do back to daily content. And this is a bit of a strange video for me because, as you can tell from the title, over the course of kind of this break, initially it was just I was working a lot and I didn't have any time. But then I had a weekend away and I got to play a bunch of like miniature games. And then the preceding week I even got to play some more games, which was fantastic. But after playing Warhammer 40,000 and seeing it played again, like en masse kind of thing, I kind of started reaching out to a couple of people and talking to people about the state of Warhammer 40,000. And as you can tell from this video, it sucks. Warhammer 40k is so bad, I can't even describe to you. I've been kind of in a microcosm outside of the game for a while. And when I was still playing a lot of miniatures, I wasn't playing a lot of 40k. I was playing kind of one-off 500-point games. Since everyone kind of got newer codexes, I hadn't played a lot of against those newer codexes. I had my Death Guard codex for so long and played, the older codexes. But it was just very jarring, right? Where the example I'm going to use, where I played a couple 2,000-point games that weekend, and then the next week I played some more. And the example I'm using here is that I played a 2,000-point game against Eldar, right? In the first turn, my opponent destroyed 1,280 points of my 2,000 points. So I had 720 points left, shot back, killed a handful of things. And everything that was left on the table was damaged. Like I had a Dreadnought that had 3 wounds left. My Demon Prince has 2. Like everything that was still on the table was wounded pretty much. And then the next turn I got tabled and I didn't have a second turn. Like your game is so bad. It's embarrassing. Like I can't believe how awful it is. Like the command points, all of the bonuses, like there's so much stuff to remember. I typed pages and pages of stuff I'm trying to go through and find like what do I do, and just the fact that there's these units where it's like 40k is geared towards you kill people as fast as possible. And while I was playing 40k, I was also playing Game of Thrones, and you know what, I've realized I've never had a blowout in Game of Thrones. The games almost always go to the last turn, super close, and even if you lose, you can still kill that character, right? You can still do a couple fun things, even though you may only lose by 1 or 2 victory points and you've lost. And even that, it's just like the games are so much closer, and I'm having so much more fun playing Game of Thrones than Warhammer 40,000. I too have almost no interest. I know that there's some people who have gotten into the hobby who I'm like, they'll want to play some 500 points. I'll teach them how to play. But like the command point system is broken. And this person who beat me didn't use a single command point. They didn't need to, right? They just crushed me. And the just scaling of the game of the new thing is the most powerful. You're fighting again an army. Like what's the point of me setting up this whole thing of me showing up with my army to be tabled? And have a single turn? Like I don't get this game. Like I just don't understand. I wish I could have someone at Games Workshop explain to me why the game has gotten to a point where it's just awful. Like I can't describe how disappointing it is to have this game that I love, that I'm so invested in, that I want it to be good, right? They need to just 10th edition, and I know that it probably won't happen this way, scrap the whole thing. It's ruined. Like it's so bad. I can't describe to everyone in this video how just like flabbergasted I am at the quality of this game. It's like, don't play it. Like honest to God, forget it, right? It's not worth your time to get your models out because the game's so shit. Like go play Game of Thrones. I've been pushing Game of Thrones for a while, being like, it's so much better. It's so enjoyable to play and fun, and like every aspect of it is great. The sideboard content is fun. I'm about to start Star Wars Legion. I've been looking at the rules. People are pumping me up. I've had 40k players be like, oh, I switched to Legion completely, that I didn't even know. Where I had people messaging me on Instagram being like, oh no, I I put my 40k away, right? Like I packed it up. I'm not going to play till 10th edition. I'm hoping the game gets better. Like you could completely remove the command point system. It doesn't work. It's just pointless. It's so bloated and a mess, right? Like I think Death Guard, you've got 31 or 32 command point abilities. Then there's the ones that anyone can take. I forget how many there are. I think it's 6 or something more. And that's not even a lot. Like I think Mechanicum has even more than that. And then again, you have units and abilities that overlap with auras, with this, and people. I've realized a key part of miniature models. The minute that you read rules at me for more than 1 minute, you've lost me, right? Where like someone reading for 5 minutes straight. Well, okay, this person's got this aura, so it does this, and then this is going to overlap with this squad's aura, which is going to do this. Then there's the psychic ability, which I cast, which is also going to overlap, which you can do. And it's just someone reading and reading, and being like, "You're crushing me, man. I understand." Right? And when you read over some things and you're like, this is so dumb. Like, how can this even be a thing? And then you're just getting table wiped and you're just standing there being like, who designed this? Like, how did this get through? Right? And even with the leagues getting nerfed before it even got out of the gate and everything else, like Warhammer 40k is so bad, like, there's no point in playing. Right? And to say that is so jarring to me that I'm the one saying this. Like, again, I have every chaos army. I think Warhammer 40k is the most interesting universe. I think the models are like the best models still. Like the stories are amazing. The lore, there's been a couple missteps here and there, but like the game, like it's just so bad. And then you're playing against also armies where, again, I've been talking to some people, and you got like knights, right? Where you're playing more of, I guess, a fun army, being like, hey, I've got some troops, I've got this, I took some elites, I took this varied army that I think is fun. And then, oh, well, you fought knights and you got tabled, right? Like it wasn't even close. Like, I don't know what to say. I wish someone at Games Workshop that wrote rules would see videos like this, because I feel like they don't, right? And I believe that there is an email address that you can send feedback to, and I'm just gonna send like a level-headed email being like, hey, this was my experience with the game. I'm not buying stuff anymore. I really haven't been buying a lot of GW stuff lately. I've moved into Game of Thrones and some Legion stuff. I've been avoiding buying models because, again, I should be painting them, but like even buying one-off things like a rule book or something else, I'm buying that stuff. Right? There's no reason for me to invest money in this game. I think is awful. Right? And I have been trying to talk to people where even people who I didn't even realize have been playing the game a lot, they're like, oh no, we use in-house rules where you half the command points, or you like have alternating shooting, right? Where one person moves, or you go squad by squad or something. Because in general, people that I had no idea, where they're like, oh no, yeah, the game really is not good, so we've had to modify it to make it even playable, right? My God, that's embarrassing. Like, you're the number one miniature company on the face of the planet, and your premier game, the flagship game, which is Warhammer 40,000, right, is awful. So far, from what I can tell, it's the worst miniature model game you can play right now, is Warhammer 40,000. And I'm saying this. I can't believe it. That's why I've really struggled to make this video. I've sat down here a couple different days and started making it and been like, you know what? I'm going to take a break again. Just because it's jarring to me. And it's so disappointing and upsetting that this thing that I'm so invested in and just care about so much is just terrible. Right? And I know that some people, maybe you and your friends, you're playing, again, that 500 point games, I feel like are pretty okay. 1,000 points are still, you can deal with that. But the command points, again, all the rules, everything, like, it's just the bloat of it. Like when you get the rule book with your codex, with your white dwarf that's got some rules in it, with another side book that you've got that probably has rules in it with an expansion or something, and you're trying to flip through and do all these things and just, oh man, I hope that Games Workshop really looks at the game and just scraps a bunch of the stuff that they've added on. I doubt it'll happen, but like again, a huge thing for me is like the command points. The only way you can save the command points for me is if you do a thing, and I've been trying to come up with a couple ideas to do hot fixes for this video. The Fire Slayers in AOS, okay, that army, they've got like 6 abilities, and each turn you can use one of those abilities, and you can only use each one once per game, right? That's very easy for me to understand for anyone. You start the game, hey, here's my 6 abilities. Each turn I'll be using one of these. Here they are, right? You can read them. You got it? Okay, sweet. What are yours? You've got these 6. Okay, perfect. Right? You could even throw in there's 3 neutral ones or something, right? That's a mini mashed up like version of these command point things that have just nonsensical. Like, and then knowing your opponents, all of those, to know what's going to happen, because again, they're talking the rules at you, where you've got the rules for the army, right? Like Death Guard's got the 1 pager with disgustingly resilient and plague weapons and that stuff. That 1 page is fine. I've been saying they should cut it back just to a 1 pager of those are the special rules for your army. That's it. You've got that page, then your plague company, right? So now I've got all those special rules. Then I've got all the special rules for command points. Then I've got the special rules for all of my units. Then for the Demon Prince who has an aura. Then for my lieutenant who has an aura. Then I've got it's rules on rules on rules. And then you forget one thing during the game and it was an aura, and then you lost because you forgot. I want to have fun like I did in 3rd edition. Like even playing 9th edition with 8th edition codexes was so much fun. I generally was super stoked for 9th when I was playing with those 8th edition codexes, being like, man, this game is great, right? The command points were still too much, but it was still, at least it was fun then. Now, awful, right? Go play something else. And that's the other thing, is that I've been talking to some of my friends who only played Warhammer like I used to, and they're like, no, I'll wait. I just won't play, right? Like, I'm going to take a break from playing. Play some other stuff. There's way more fun miniature model games out there right now than Warhammer 40,000. Like, again, there's some that I haven't even tried yet that I've had some people say that I should get into, right? Like one-off things. Like right now I have expanded into Legion and Game of Thrones, but I'm not doing like Malifaux. I had someone say was really good. And there's a couple other ones. I made a short list of things that I'm going to make another video about that had really cool games where people were like, no, like grab the starter box, try this out. It's a lot of fun. And explaining the logistics of it, I'm like, that sounds interesting too, right? Like, spread your wings, try a couple other things. And like Warcry is still good. I'm going to try to get people into Warcry. I'm probably just going to play Warcry. And I heard like Kill Team is pretty good right now too, right? And AOS is now a better game to play than 40k, but it's still starting to suffer a little bit from that bloat where you can see the 40k, they're like, man, let's keep cramming rules at people. They love that, right? They love having to memorize so many rules that there's no way they can, right? So I think that it's really geared, it looks like, more towards tournament play, where they're really focusing in on getting those people who go to tournaments to buy the best army and huck so many rules that they're so good. And that's the point of the game right now, at least as an outsider looking in, to me, is that they're focusing on tournament players and getting whales to just drop cash on a new army every time something comes out, because that is the best thing. And again, it's just sad to me, right? Like, I understand that the new army comes out, maybe they got a couple powerful abilities or something, and you got to curtail it, or something. People always find screwball ways of combining different rules and abusing things, and then you fix that later, right? You didn't realize that people were going to do this, and this comes up, right? That happens, and that's fine, right? Because then you address it as it comes. But just having new army, best army every time, and then again with that Eldar thing, it was wild, right? Like having the shots at me where it was like these combination of rules on top of each other, where it's just like, oh no, you can just table wipe people. right? Like I don't even need to use command points. You just wipe, right? And like, I don't know. There's another game I played again, and it seems to be, I've been trying to get a consensus on this, that at 2,000 points, if you lose the first turn, you lose. Like, I got a statistic going of people I know playing 2,000 point games, and about 80%, slightly over 80% of the time, if you roll first, you win the game. Right? That's jarring. That's not, even 60 would be like, that's kind of a lot. 80%? Good God. That's not good. Like that's not an enjoyable thing, right? Like having it not go to a second turn. I don't get it. When they have the rules being like, in fourth turn, this event happens. In fifth turn, I can't even get to turn 2, man. I can't even get to it, right? The game's over after turn 1, basically, right? I don't know. I've made this video and kind of gotten it out of my system. And please let me know in the comments, have you been playing 2,000 points of 40k and you're just like, no, it's fun, but it's, you've got to do this, or house rules, or kind of adjust it. But I appreciate that people are doing that to try to make the game fun and playable, but you shouldn't have to, right? Maybe you can throw in some house rules once in a while for doing a campaign or a tournament or something, but to have to actively change the game to make the game playable on any level or fun on any level, I don't know. Like, we'll have to wait for 10th edition, and I hope that it's a revamp. I'm going to send off that email just being like, hey, I've been playing 40k my whole life, and I generally hate the game now, and I'm not going to play it anymore, right? And even saying that out loud is crazy to me, right? Like, if someone was like, hey, do you want to play 2,000 points of 40k? I'd be like, nah, you want to play Game of Thrones? Right? And that would be an end. Right? Or do you want to try Legion with me? Maybe we can try Legion. Right? It's just, it's not an enjoyable experience right now. And other content creators now realize what they were talking about. And it's surprising and sad. But again, let me know in the comments what you all think, because I very much want to get everybody's opinion on this. Like, was this just a string of bad games? Like everyone I know having bad games, or is this just the general consensus in the community that, the game's just not very good, and you either choose to play this bad game or you're going to hold off for 10th edition like so many people are. I'm pretty much in that boat too. I'll play the 500 point games with some people who just got involved with 40k to teach them the game, show them the ropes kind of thing. And I'll tell them, like, the models are fun, the universe is fun, right? And those smaller games are still enjoyable, but 2,000 points, I'm out, right? Like, what's the point? Like, tabled in 2 turns, right? Like, again, and that wasn't a one-off thing either, right? Like, that's a consistent thing now, is that you just lose very quickly, right? And it's that power creep and things getting blown off, where it's like, okay, this unit's going to destroy an entire, like, 200-point squad every turn, right? You're power gaming, right? Where you take this army, you're unbeatable. Is that what we're doing? Is that 40k now? But anyways, if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button. There'll be other stuff coming out. This was a one-off thing that I had to make just because it's kind of frustrating. And I want this game to be good, and I want to be able to go to people like, let's play 40k. Let's play the best miniature game ever, right? And it's just not there right now. Again, let me know in the comments. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Lots more content coming your way. I'm glad to be back. There'll be more videos coming. Thanks for watching.